Preseason week 2 is finally over, and we're going to dive into some Kool Aid. Yeah, Kool Aid McKinstry right here on Football Takeover YouTube show. Let's go. Welcome everybody, Football Takeover YouTube show. I'm John Harris, Football Takeover's own. I guess I'm really kind of the only one, but that's okay. We'll grow this thing and we'll get more people involved here at Football Takeover. But glad you are with me today. We're going to break down preseason week number 2. We're also going to put the film on, bro, of one of my favorite players in college football who has one of the coolest names in college football. And you have to wait for Kool Aid McKinstry in a little bit because we got to start the show with a little cover 3. Yes, 3 of the hotter stories in all of football, high school, college, NFL, and the story du jour this summer. What does du jour mean? By the day? Either way. The most happening story has been the running backs. So let's start at number 3 out in Vegas, where Josh Jacobs appears to be close to coming into the Raiders facility. He has not signed his franchise tag tender, so there's that. So what happens with the Raiders and Josh Jacobs? Well, we'll wait and see. I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo, Aidan O'Connell have been holding it down. They've scored 34 points in the first 2 preseason games, and we'll get to that in just a little bit. But Josh Jacobs getting back in the fold, could be for a year. I don't know what, at this point, leverage he's got. So does he come in and play, sits out the half of the season? I don't know. But it does appear as if he is moving towards being in the building. That's a step for the Las Vegas Raiders. All right, let's get to number 2. Week 0 in college football starts this week. So that means I got predictions. I'll have write-ups on week 0 games at footballtakeover.com. Again, subscription site, but man, this is the time you want to get it. I'm gonna have season total thoughts this week. You've already seen my pick 6 I had earlier, 6 teams that I like the over under on, so I'll try and do those, do some conference previews. I put up my draft prospects for the SEC top 50, the Big 12, the top 30. I'm putting together, as we speak, my top 50 in the Big 10. Of course, my Harris 100 is there for all draft prospects. There's more content there that will pay for your price alone, and it's all there for you. So week 0, you got Notre Dame taking on Navy out in Dublin. That's going to be fun. You got USC playing their game week 0. And then, of course, you got Vanderbilt going to Hawaii. Look, the games aren't fantastic. The primetime game for ESPN, I think, is New Mexico State and UConn, maybe. Something along those lines. So not the sexiest games, but you do have Notre Dame and USC starting. Although you're gonna need the Pac-12 networks to see USC, which is unfortunate because I'd like to watch USC. So wait a day, it'll be on YouTube, and well, that's where we go for everything nowadays, right? Right. And finally, at number 1, this has been a story now for a couple days. Jonathan Taylor has been given permission to seek a trade throughout the league. Now, there's one side of me going, all right, yeah, get him out of the AFC South. There's another side of me going, well, where's he going to go? What teams are going to have any interest? I think tomorrow we may do a whole show of where does Jonathan Taylor go? We'll do that tomorrow. But right now, the Dolphins are interested, but what's their money situation? What's their asset availability to a trade situation? I mean, they had 4 draft picks this past year because all the trades they've been making. So how much do they have in the coffers to be able to offer to the Colts? Now, the Colts apparently want a first. Not happening. That's not happening. And I think Chris Ballard knows it. I think this is the Colts saying to Jonathan Taylor, look, go look. Go look what's out there. You know, it's like when you have kids and you're a parent and the kid's like, I think I can go live on my own and I can do this on my own, and you kind of threaten to do that, and you're like, all right, go ahead. We're good. We're fine. If you move out, we're good. That's just more money for us. You got to figure it out. Within 2 days, they're back. I think that's the way Jonathan Taylor and his agent are going to find that there just aren't teams completely ready to dive into not only give up assets for Jonathan Taylor in a trade and then pay him the $15, $16 million a year that he wants. Now, I have some thoughts on that, and we'll probably get to those a little bit tomorrow, I've got some teams that I thought might be in mind, but I don't know that everything sets up perfectly. It feels like there's a team that might have the assets, but they're not in the race, to go win a championship. Then you have some teams that might be in championship mode, could really use him, need a running back. Man, they don't have money in the cap. They don't want to have something long term. A couple of teams that come to mind that fall into that category. So what do? Colts are kind of stuck. Jonathan Taylor's kind of stuck. But I think this was a way for the Colts to say, look, here's what you're going to find. Come back to us when you don't find exactly what you're looking for. And that is going to be the story, I think, here. Now, is there going to be one team that dives in? Maybe. There's always one crazy team. There's always a Cowboys. Ooh, Jonathan Taylor to the Cowboys. Now, that would make sense. With only Tony Pollard and Deuce Vaughn, Jonathan Taylor's a Cowboy. I would hate it, but I don't know if they have the money, and I don't know if they have the assets to make a trade. But Jerry'd be crazy enough to do it. And that might be the difference in this whole thing. So Jonathan Taylor, now officially on the trade block. I don't know. He was at Eagles-Colts joint practices. So I don't know. His agent's probably going to get some work. So there you go. Number one, Jonathan Taylor allowed to seek a trade in the NFL. It'd be kind of interesting if you trade him to the NBA. Hey, we're going to trade him to the Washington Wizards for Bradley Beal and I don't know. No, that's not going to work. All right. There you go. That should cover 3. All right. Let's get to our preseason week number 2 in review. Let's get through our games quickly. Let's dice through and get through the stories that were in preseason week number 2. All right. Let's start in Philly where, they were kissing sisters there as Cleveland and Philly tied at 18. No Deshaun, no Jalen Hurts, but Tanner McKee continues to look good. Stole the show, if you will. 10 of 18 for 147 yards and a touchdown. And Trey Sermon. Remember Trey Sermon? Had a great 2020, the COVID year at Ohio State. Great year at the end of the year. That got him a 3rd-round pick, I think, the 49ers. Never worked out. All of a sudden, he's trying to resurrect his career. He had 5 carries for 54 yards for the Eagles, so good for him. So Trey Sermon, keep an eye on him. If he's available, there'll be some teams I think that would want to talk. But Cleveland and Philly tie at 18. The Giants and the Panthers, 21-19. The Giants get the win. The Giants jumped out early. Brian Dable and Mike Kafka got the offense rolling. Darren Waller, the first drive of that game, Darren Waller was getting targets all over the place. They were moving Waller. I was like, wow. Daniel Jones looked good. This Giants team could be kind of scary. Now that Saquon's back in the fold, they could be pretty scary. But the Carolina offensive line, ooh, man, was that ugly. UGLY, you got no alibis. You got first-rounders on there. You got second-rounders on an offensive line. And they are not protecting Bryce Young. Kayvon Thibodeau and company just ran roughshod right through Carolina. Bryce just 3 of 6 for 35 yards. And how about Jalen Hyatt? I guess he learned how to play receiver after he left Tennessee. Imagine that. 33-yard touchdown catch on a throw from Tyrod Taylor. Giants win by 2. Bengals, Falcons, 13-3. Bengals get the win, but really the story of this game is Bijan Robinson gets his first action as a Falcon, his first run. Said it all in the scouting report last year. It's the same Bijan. Then he goes out in the flat. Ball kind of thrown ahead of him a little bit. Reaches out, one-hands it with the left hand. He's just super. But Falcons only score 3 points now and a couple penalties down in the little red zone that killed them. Bengals get the 10-point win. Jaguars and Lions had some joint practices, so it was a bunch of backups going at it. But the Jags get a 25-7 win. Remember Dearness Johnson on a Thursday night game against, I think it was Cincinnati back in 21 maybe? I think it was 21. And he and Case Keenum starting for Cleveland because Baker Mayfield was hurt. Case Keenum and Dearness Johnson went crazy. Well, Dearness did it again the other day. He had 2 rushing touchdowns as he's trying to be back number 3 behind Travis Etienne and Tank Bigsby. Detroit takes one on the chin, losing the Jaguars 25-7. Well, the game that I was at, it didn't go so well. Miami beat Houston 28-3. C.J. Stroud did look solid on a field goal drive. Nothing spectacular. A couple of really nice throws. But nothing you're like, whoa, that was the game against Georgia. That'll be the standard. Hopefully that happens soon. But Salvon Ahmed went nuts. 99 yards and 12 attempts. He had a 65-yarder right before half that led to a touchdown. He also had a receiving touchdown. And the Texans gave up 205 yards rushing. Damn. That's not good. Steelers beat the Bills by 12 in the Steel City. Bills' injuries are piling up. Lost Tommy Doyle on the offensive line. The offensive line was not great to begin with, and now they're losing their depth. Yikes. Steelers rookie from out of Wisconsin, Nick Herbig, Big night, and it went viral. You've seen that cross chop with the rip and the bend. Man, it was nice. 2.5 sacks against the Bills. And Jaylen Warren, formerly of Utah State, Oklahoma State, 62-yard rushing touchdown in the win for the Steelers, 27-17. Colts beat the Bears. Richardson didn't play. Justin Fields didn't play. Sam Ehlinger tapped into his Texas roots. 60 yards rushing on 8 carries and a touchdown. Colts get the win, 24-17. But as we mentioned, Jonathan Taylor is seeking that trade, so it's a little bittersweet. Well, preseason win, who cares? Bucks 13, Jets 6. They had some joint practices down there. Kyle Trask threw for 218 yards on 20 of 28 with 1 touchdown. Had a 106 rating. That's pretty solid in this 7-point win over the Jets. But Baker Mayfield named QB1 in Tampa. Baker Mayfield, QB1. How long does it last? Well, we'll see. If Kyle Trask keeps throwing it like that, well, who knows how long it'll last. But the Bucks lost Russell Gage to what looks like a season-ending injury. But Trey Palmer, keep an eye on him. Day 3 pick from out of Nebraska and LSU showed it off. He had a 33-yard touchdown pass reception from Trask. Bucks win 13-6. The Chiefs went into Arizona, where they won the Super Bowl, 38-10, trounced the Cardinals. How about this? Mahomes and his quarterbacks targeted 18 different Chiefs pass catchers. 17 of them caught a pass. Mahomes had a touchdown. Justin Watson, Emir Smith-Marset had receiving touchdowns. Derek Prince and quarterback Shane Buechele had 2 rushing touchdowns. Chiefs looking mid-season form. Packers and Patriots in Green Bay. Boy, they had some spirited practices against one another. The Patriots came out of here with a 21-17 win. It was cut short by virtue of Bill Belichick and Matt LaFleur asking the officials, look, we need to cut this game now. And Isaiah Bolden, the rookie out of Jackson State, went down with an injury. He had to be carted off. He was examined at the hospital and then was able to go back to New England. All signs appear that he's going to be okay, but a really tough scene. And after a couple of spirited practices, that injury, Belichick and LaFleur were ready to shake hands and call it a day, and they did. Patriots get the 4-point win. But story here, Jordan Love looked good again. 5 of 8 for 84 yards. Gorgeous touchdown throw to Jaden Reed, the second rounder from Michigan State. So Jordan Love looking really, really good. Titans took on the Vikings. They had joint practices there, and during the week, Treylon Burks hurt his knee. LCL, could be out a few weeks. So it's not a bad. The bad one would have been an ACL, PCL, MCL, but LCL is going to cost him a few weeks. But the story of this game was Tyjae Spears. And in my notes, I just put, damn it, Tyjae Spears. 24-16, he had a highlight reel run for a touchdown. You put Spears with Henry, because they are so completely different. You're beat up and bruised tackling Henry, and all of a sudden Spears comes in with 4.3 speed and no ACLs and just dominates. Man, it is going to be wild to watch that offense, and let's see whether that offensive line can hold up or not. But they did on this night, 24-16, Titans beat the Vikings. Brock Purdy returned to the field for the 49ers. Looked good, 4 of 5 for 65 yards. But it was Trey Lance who rebounded from a tough game against the Raiders with a strong finish to this one. Threw an interception on a screen early in the game. And then from that point on, he was fantastic. He moved the Niners in the game-winning field goal range. And rookie Jake Moody finally hit a field goal. The first pick of the 49ers draft finally hit a field goal. He's been struggling, but he nailed the game winner as the Niners beat the Broncos 21-20. I mentioned the Raiders earlier, 34-17 over the Rams. Aidan O'Connell does it again. 11 of 18 for 163 and 2 tutties. Jimmy Garoppolo played. He was a perfect 4 for 4 for 39 yards. The Raiders just look different. We'll see how that carries over to the regular season, but right now those quarterbacks are getting it done. Stetson Bennett, not as good as he was in the first one. The rookie from Georgia for the Rams struggled, 15 of 24 for 142 and a pick. Looked kind of tentative, throws high. He looked like Stetson Bennett early in his Georgia career, not what he became the last couple of years. Raiders get the win in the Battle of California, 34-17. The Seahawks took on the Cowboys, and it was a Big 12 running back reunion. Sir Roderick Thompson, Texas Tech, he scored a rushing touchdown, 11 carries, 50 yards, and a tutty for the Seahawks. Deuce Vaughn scored on a 14-yard run for the Cowboys. Seattle got the win, 22-14. Not a ton in this game, but long live the Big 12. Deuce Vaughn, Sir Roderick Thompson. We'll miss him, but there's plenty more there in the Big 12. There'll be some dudes there in the Big 12, and we'll talk about that later. But 22-14, Seattle gets the win. Then, Saints, 22, Chargers 17. Right in the middle of a hurricane. Yes, a hurricane. A hurricane and an earthquake at the same time. Saints get the win out in LA. Will Lutz hit 3 field goals. Easton Stick had 2 rushing touchdowns for the Chargers, but he also threw 2 picks. Jake Haener and Jameis Winston played well for the Saints. Neither one of them threw a touchdown. Neither one of them threw a pick. Lonnie Johnson ended the game. Way to go, Lotto. Another interception thrown right to him. But the Saints get the win 22-17. And then Monday night, it finally happened. Wait, what do you mean finally happened? Yeah, it finally happened. The Ravens finally lost a preseason game. Sam Howell looked really good. He looked really good. Commanders get the win 29-28. A 1-point victory ends the Ravens' 24-game preseason winning streak. Wow. And the Commanders wanted to. They talked about it after the game. Oh, man, look what we did. This is one of the greatest preseason wins. Blah, 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 blah. Who cares about the win? Commanders did. They wanted to end that streak, and they did. Congrats to the Commanders. And that is your preseason week 2 in review. All right, it's time to put the film on of arguably the best corner in college football. I think he's got number 1 on my board right now. I don't know who knocks him off. His name is Kool Aid McKinstry. I just love hearing Nick Saban do his Saban telestrator and have to explain, well, this is Jordan right here, and this is Mink over here, and then we're going to watch what Kool-Aid does. The fact that he has to say that is cool. So Nick Saban puts on the film, and so do we. Name is Kool Aid McKinstry. That's right, Kool Aid McKinstry, and he's one of the best corners in the country. I think had he come out in a draft, he couldn't because he was not a third year. Had he been out in the draft last year, he's probably still cornerback number 1 for me, or maybe 2. He's definitely number 1 in this class, and he is a fun watch. And this is in isolation, and I love this. He's in press man on this particular play. I believe that's Matt Landers from Arkansas from last year. Now, first of all, there are a couple things right away. Take a look at his leverage. It looks like he's got inside leverage. Kind of hard to tell exactly here, but what he does know is he's got help on the inside. So when Landers comes off, Landers is going to hot foot him right here and then dart inside. Now McKinstry opens up and lets him inside, but watch right here. Watch the hips fly open. When you can flip your hips like that, such that you can get back in phase as if nothing has really happened, man, that is special man cover technique. So he comes off right there. Looks like he's maybe off a little bit. And then right there, looks like maybe he's got him. Maybe. But then McKinstry's able to flip the hips. Watch the hips flip right there. He flips them, and now he's right in that hip pocket. And Landers can't get rid of him. And so he's running that slant route, and there's McKinstry right on his inside hip. He has not gone anywhere. Landers felt like, man, I got him on my hip. I just box him out right here. But he can't. He can't box him out. McKinstry ends up reaching over the top legally. No PI. He's physical, but he's not. He's in the right position, but not right away. This is Kool Aid McKinstry in a nutshell. Physically dominant at the corner position. Length, speed, hips, feet, and then ball skills at the very end. This is very special. Yeah, he's a fun player, there's no doubt. Kool Aid McKinstry, the corner from Alabama. And who doesn't love Kool-Aid? Kool-Aid, Kool-Aid man. Yeah, well, Kool Aid McKinstry might be the Kool-Aid man for some team down the road that is looking for a top-notch cover corner, great zone instincts, as we just pointed out, right there in our Put the Film On Bro. And that's going to do it for today's show. Tomorrow we'll break down a little bit of Jonathan Taylor and his options right here on the Football Takeover YouTube show. Appreciate you all being with me. Thank you very much. The support means a ton. FootballTakeover.com. We got merch, shirts, mugs, whatever else you're looking for. It's my brain basically in a website, and you have access to it and just for a small price, and you can have it 24/7, 365. Appreciate you guys. We'll see you next time. Good night.